Looking back at the recent period, we've witnessed the role played by Nedlac in facilitating an all-of-society response to major challenges facing the country. Nowhere was the more evident than in the response of Nedlac to the COVID-19 pandemic, seeking to support businesses, workers and their families through the difficult time of lockdown, as well as leading in establishing health and safety protocols to keep the workplace safe.
Nedlac is no longer the place where bills come to die. We have become more efficient and effective. We have forged in practice a social compact. We have forged and built trust. On the vaccination program, which is a very mixed story, if it was not for the work of B4SA to active patriotic partnership to ensure that vaccines were delivered.
In line with the need for a new comprehensive social compact that was announced in the 2022 State of the Nation address, we believe that economic growth, job creation, social relief to fight hunger should be the key tenets of such a new consensus. We must be very clear that social relief is not mutually exclusive to economic growth, development, and employment. It only becomes automatic and natural graduation for those who would have been part of the social relief interventions. When sufficient opportunities of employment are created, they then graduate into that.
There has to be a political will in our view. There has to be seniority in trying to address these particular problems in a manner that those who are involved in this issue, they don't feel that it was a waste of time. But I think our approach has to change from the adversarial approach on issues to some kind of solution-oriented way.
And I think what Nedlac needs to do now is again mobilize a broad range of interests, not just the social partners that are sitting here, but others broadly, towards the single goal of addressing the crises we have.
So this has major implications for us. It means we need to understand what the kind of skills that are being demanded and the job roles that are being demanded and what are becoming redundant. I think we need to understand what is our national interest when looking at this complex world around us. So we need to put South Africa first. We need to understand what's our national interest and then go out and pursue it. And that's how our strategic response has to place at its core the upskilling of all our citizens, young or old, while managing the just transition to a greener future.
So it was also found out that the high-profile roles played by the EBMOs and trade unions had resulted in a significant improvement in the credibility of those organizations. That is the finding of the study. But we're also aware that because of the high levels of unemployment, underemployment, we have challenges in terms of membership of these organizations. How are we able to manage those seeming contradictions, and how do we leverage what seems to be a positive outcome?
Remote work, the fourth industrial revolution is here. I think denying it or ignoring it, it will expose workers and society to unnecessary risks, to real dangers of unemployment. But of course it creates huge opportunities, huge benefits, and it carries equally significant risks and real pain. So we've got two options, comrades, colleagues. We can do nothing, which we like to do often. We can talk, but it'll be the poor and the middle class who will pay the price. It'll be fragile industries of the economy which will suffer. It'll be certain rural areas which will pay the price. Or we can plan, we can guide the transition, we can exploit the opportunities, we can invest much more in workers, create transition paths for industries and workers, and society will reap the benefits. So I think lastly, Comrade Chair, is that it's up to us here collectively as government, as business and labor, as community. We all have a key role to play, and if we do it smartly, then we can do it well.
And that's a very important aspect of our business. A tour guide cannot do a tour remotely and earn an income. Yes, we do have virtual tours, but those don't bring money into the country. If someone is able to sit at home somewhere in the USA or in Europe or in China and be able to watch the Kruger National Park
we don't earn anything. So for us is to make sure that people come into the country, and that's why, we have been very robust in our discussion of reopening the international markets, making sure that South Africans are able to travel their own country, and making sure that today we're able to meet here in person, meaning we get out of Zoom and we get into the room.
This movement, speaking about the right to disconnect, and obviously some countries actually legislating around this, and where are we as a country? There is obviously, all of this also speaks to always being on, the remote working, the lack of work-life balance and that integration, because there are no strict boundaries then for remote workers in terms of what your home is and actually what the office is. But once again, we're talking about white-collar workers here.
And just as a reminder what the global figure looks like, 61% of the world's workforce is informally employed in the ways that I describe. Either they work in the formal sector and don't enjoy the rights that they're actually entitled to, or they work in the informal sector and are self-employed and so on. So 61%. So the question is, how do we reverse this? What do we do about it? The first point is that of the importance of ending the informalization of work in the formal sector. And I know that the Labour Market Chamber of Nedlac spends a lot of time dealing with questions about the inspectorate, the question of enforcement, questions of the Labour Relations Act and the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, how to tighten up the regulation of work in the formal sector where there is an employee-employer relationship.